Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in the KITZUR HILCHOS SHABBOS, and we're talking about the melacha of tzeveya, of coloring, of dyeing. Yesterday we spoke about the prohibition of dyeing the garments, clothing, cotton, wool, flax, all the different things, just like they did in the base, just like they did in the construction of the Mishkan. And now he writes, what about coloring food? Says the KITZUR, Paiskin shein tzviya ba'ichlin. We paskin means we decide halachically that there is no prohibition of coloring food. V'hainu, what does that mean? Shematirim litein yain edem l'seich yain lavan. For example, you're allowed to put red wine into white wine. Now, even though that means even though that it means that now the wine that was once white is going to look like it's red. So you've colored the white wine and you made it red. Since that your kavanah, your intention is not for the color of the wine itself, rather you just like the way that it tastes, red and white together, ein kan iser, there's no prohibition. Because you're not doing an action that I want the wine to be colored red. I just putting it all together. But if a person wants to give any appearance to food, as mechalkim ben oifen shabai, ein tzarich achila klal, then a person has to decide over there if there's really no reason for the achila, for the eating of it at all. Which means the coloring that I'm doing to the food is not enhancing the eating of the food, but rather I want it merely for the color of the food. And he's going to explain. He wants the food to look very nice. Obviously, you're not selling things on Shabbos, but sometimes people color food in order to make it look nice so that people will come along and they will buy it. And in order, sometimes people will color the food that's on the table so that it looks more attractive, so that people will come and eat it. Sometimes people will put some fruit juice or something on cake or fruits or on cookies or the like, because it makes the food look better. To me, it sounds like it's going to be soggier, but apparently there's ways to do this that's going to look better, and that way more people want to eat the food. So you have tried to make your food look good, except you're not enhancing the eating of the food, and therefore the flavor of the food, and therefore he seems to say, as we'll see, im ein baitzarach achila klal, as aser litem ba'echel is a davar sheish l'marisai. So he's distinguishing like this. Over there, when you want to make the food look more attractive on the table, so that more people come and eat it, so then I could call that tzarach achila. That's for the need, the necessity of the eating, and therefore there would be no problem putting the fruit juice on there to make it look better. However, if there is no benefit at all to the coloring that I'm doing in this food, then you cannot put anything into the food or onto the food that's going to change its appearance. However, if there's any reason why it would enhance the eating of the food, then there's no prohibition. And also, even if I could say that this, whatever I'm adding on, this little bit of red wine, or this color of the paprika, or the tomato sauce, whatever it might be, the ketchup, it's besides the fact that it's enhancing the color, but it's also enhancing the flavor, I would be okay then to add it. But he's strict. Nevertheless, since there are people that are machmir, there are opinions that are very strict when it comes to this. They hold that you really should not permit such a thing. Because even though that the residual effect is that it enhances the flavor of the food, nevertheless over here, you do want the coloring over there to make it look better. It's no longer included in the heter, in the permission of there's no coloring when it comes to food. Therefore, it's better for a person to hold back. If your cholent is very white and you don't like the way that it looks. So you want to add paprika to make it look more red, the way the cholent normally does look. And that's your real kavanah, that's your real intention, even though that the paprika is going to add flavor to the cholent. He's saying over here, since that your main intention is that it should look more like cholent, so people will be more inclined to eat it, so to speak, he's saying that a person should be careful and they should not do that. The Imsein Lamedim is that we learn from this. And therefore, keep this in mind for Pesach. You should prepare the charoises before Yom Tov begins. Why? The reason we put red wine into the charoises in order to make them red. So it's not just for the flavor of the wine that I want in there. I want the charoises to be red, like to remind me of the blood of the Jewish people that spilled needlessly in Mitzrayim, in Egypt. And therefore, says the KITZUR, a person should try their best to make the charoises before Yom Tov actually began, so they don't do the coloring of the food. Now that's going to be if you're going to end up having a Pesach that falls out on Shabbos, but if it falls out during the week, so then that prohibition of the coloring is not going to apply, seemingly. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful Shabbos.